Testing 1, 2. This will. Call him again before and then golf one this morning when I was off work and I now I had it. It's like that. And he goes, yeah, I mean, we already have the house. That means, yeah, like, okay, and we're on the phone like, giving him a call. He's the guy we're dealing with this other. So, all right, well, and I invested already. So if they come back and go, oh, it's done out. I bought a portion of some. And hand drawn hammered out of hand. Along with the conglomerate, so it's, you know. Yeah, well, here he is. Make some money. This bill. It's like 5 years. It's only 5 years. So. Well, pretty much. I mean, there's some old business that has to go through, but that's like a second reading. Yeah, oh yeah, we're the first under the rules. They're busy. And honestly, when I can get it, probably 2 items. They didn't show up, so.
I emailed. Why didn't you?
That's it.
Reservation.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Next time I go by your house.
You just kept chocolate. Okay. No, you
So I said, have it, absolutely. So let's see, congratulations. Intent on citation. For a year.
Good for the government.
Well, no, I'm just here
Yeah.
Oh, you're the one that was driving. Oh, there was my buddy. Geez.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, I'm paying attention.
No, I just.
I gotta read something.
One second.
You can put her to the house.
I know.
That's right. It's so- I know, it's sweet. Yeah. It's all right. Of course, it makes me rebuild my bed. I'm kind of working on that slowly. but surely. Airline.
Yeah.
So I got my airline ticket on the bed.
Yeah.
Excellent. But it came to be in chips. And then,
Find out.
got three. They printed it out.
No, they don't.
They can't break any of the stuff.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to play it.
It's CD casual.
So.
I know they.
She can read it. She does. Usually my best. I'll try harder to get you guys screen pictures.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening and welcome to the May meeting of the Somerville Board of Architects Review. I'm David Price, I'm Chairman of the board. And some of you have been before us before, but I think there are a number of people in the audience who have not. So our role is to evaluate the projects that come before us based on their proportions, their masses, their relationship to the other structures within the historic district. We have the option of approving a project immediately, asking people to make changes and refine their application for another meeting, or we can, if we cannot come together, then we can decline it, but we rarely do that. We try and work with everyone to get something that both we and the applicant can be happy with. If anybody wishes to make comments, you will need to sign a sheet outside the room and indicate which property you're wishing to comment on. And if you do need to make comments, we ask to keep them under 3 minutes. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from our April meeting. Do I have a motion to do so? They were sent out in advance of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yeah.
Nancy Jean.
Yes.
And me also, yes. We evaluate the projects in the order in which they're presented to the town office, and we first address old business, and we have 3 such pieces of old business on the agenda tonight. And the first one is 627 West Richardson.
Good evening, members of the board. Hope everyone is well. I think from the last meeting, I think the only question was the balustrade. You were, I think, Dr. Price, worried about the balusters kind of looking chintzy, more or less. So we added a detail.
I don't think
kind of-
Kinsey was correct.
Yeah, so it was, we added a detail, and I've got a couple pictures if I'm allowed to approach.
Sure. Please.
This is actually what the picture is. This is my house on Houston Street. It's a little more decorative. Halfway.
I was thinking more in terms of attempting to match the spindles that exist on the rest of the house. I don't know how others feel about that.
What we talked about.
Right, but please there.
We had asked for something with the spindles with a more graceful shaping.
Kind of a-
And these are still the square ones. I would not be comfortable with those going up. I don't know about anybody else, but that was what we had talked about the last time we met with you. So options for other folks?
So you're referring to more of like a turned baluster
Yes.
as opposed to a.
Any comments from the other end?
And obviously the picture with the pink balustrade is kind of a new construction home with a single top rail and a single bottom rail with 2x2 balusters. That the other picture that is painted is from a house on like Hugie Street, downtown Charleston. It has nice chamfered columns and like a detailed cap rail, kind of it's a little more intricate balustrade system.
Wasn't there some discussion about the columns as well?
Adding the chamfer to it.
Right, and you've done that.
Yes.
And the other columns are turned columns, I believe, right, on the.
I believe so, yes. I think the Murphy's vision was to not like have it compete with the main structure, kind of as like a,
Trying to make it look like it was, and
Right.
it is an addition, it's not a carbon copy.
right. Because as you can tell, they've put a lot of thought into this presentation.
The new construction one, I would say is a definitely no.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't, would be an absolute no. from my point.
Right.
This one, maybe if we have the right cap on top, where there's actually a two-piece cap on top.
Right.
And there's a, when I'm talking about a two-piece cap, you have the main one with the
Right.
detail and you have a cap.
So this-
That matches the,
So this is off the Berlin G lumber catalog, something similar to that.
yeah, something similar to that. Yes, sir.
Right.
So a cap like that. I guess I can see. The design intent of it, it doesn't match exactly. Yes. Yeah, Nancy Jean, take a look at that and
Okay.
just let me show her that. So that's where that top rail kind of matches. And I would say maybe the bottom rail kind of matches, but the spindles are different so that it looks like it's an addition and not, you know. And the columns are different as well. So that's the other part that I'm looking at.
It was just in the minutes that the spindles were mentioned, that we did not want to have the square spindles. If that's okay.
I don't know.
And it's an addition. It's an addition.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll relax.
I think the attention to the detail in the addition. Very nice. I could go either way with the spindles.
Yeah, same here.
I could too, as if you're trying to differentiate this new construction from the old.
This is also on the side elevation. It's not facing the road.
Correct.
Can't really see this from the road. Right?
Mhm.
Okay, does someone wish to make a motion?
Well, unless Nancy Jean's very passionate about it, I'd make a motion that we approve it with the addition of the Berlin G. Myers cap.
Sure.
Rail and bottom rail to be similar. in proportions and
Profile and-
styles, right? So it's
Understood.
not just a 2x4. That's
Right,
what I'm trying to
exactly.
go for. Not just 2x4, so the top and bottom rails are Berlin G. Myers style that matches this similar in complexity to the
Right.
existing house, but the spindles are the square.
I'll go with that.
This predates me, but I think it looks really, there's a lot of detail to it. It looks really good. So yeah, I like the better caps, for sure.
Okay, we have a second. Okay, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane.
Yes.
Oh, she had excused herself. Kinsey,
Yes.
Nancy Jean.
Yes.
And I also, yes. Okay,
All right. Thank you.
He was asking when I was saying Berlin G. Myers, what did that mean? Your flyer was just from Berlin G. Myers.
It
could've
was
been
off-
From anywhere that.
Yeah, it was off their lumber profile.
Yeah.
So
Their lumber.
no. It's, yeah, it's just their catalog, their holding catalog.
I figured if she had a question, everybody else out there might have a
Yep.
question. So.
okay, the next project,
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
thank you. Next project is 306 West Richardson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
We first presented to you. Gosh, this has been about a 2-year process, so it's probably been about 18 months ago first. And we were talking about an easement, and then we came back for another easement because of trees. And so we're here tonight, as you know, for our final review and your consideration. I know that you've had a lot of our files to look through over the last week or so, and I wanted to see first, are there any questions? And then I've got, I can certainly discuss how we arrived at the exterior colors and trim and what have you.
Yeah, this is her. The architectural detail is very nice on the drawings.
Thank you. I think we've had more than 10 iterations of this, so I think we finally honed in on it and have something that you would be pleased to have in your town.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
I can read my own handwriting. Would you be able to see the roof line of the garage over the house if you stood on Richards?
No, our agreement with the BZA was that the garage roof would need to be lower than the house roof. And with the elevation, you won't see the garage from the street.
That is one thing, the dimensions were not shown on the plan. But so it is definitely lower than garage roof will be definitely lower. than
Our maximum height on the garage per the BZA approval is 24 feet.
Okay. What is the house, main house?
We've changed a couple times. I think it's 25 to 26.
I mean, can you go to pay or scroll down a little bit? Want to get to the side elevation. Go to page 27. So see, when you look at that, you can see it looks like the garage is taller than the house.
It's pretty close, but it's not taller than the peak. We have to be lower than the front.
I think this elevation also isn't taking into account the grade on the property because it does drop back at the rear there. So it would sit lower.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that grade drops off.
Mhm.
This elevation grade is shown.
It's like a 3 or 4 foot drop in grade in the back.
Okay,
There's a total difference on this property of 7 feet from the front left corner to the rear, right rear corner.
Okay.
So we're coming like this.
and the only other thought that I have, and this is kind of a question really for my board members, is go back to 24. probably. Here, and, you know, there's an argument in these slight metal accents rather than this combination. And roof panels aren't drawn exactly correct.
Right.
Well, the metal is more expensive than shingles, I can tell you that. And then several other,
yeah.
And I'm not
It's-
trying to propose. that
right,
you put
no.
on- That's not. what I'm-
oh no, we're not going to do that.
More of just, there was a house that we did approve with the same detail. And as I drove by it the other day, I was kind of like, that's not really probably great in the historic district. So anyway, but I'm okay here. This has already come before.
Over an accessory part of the house is a change in pitch that the pitch on the porte cochere is not one that would absolutely require a metal roof, but I don't know what the pitch is on that porch area. Which may be the reason why the metal is on it.
Yeah. I know in my house, it's the shingles, but then over the dining room,
Yeah.
there's a little piece of,
It's like,
Metal.
you've got to pay.
babe.
That's different.
Wait.
That's detail.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
no, it's not a babe, but anyway,
Okay,
it kind of reminds me of that. So, yeah, I'm,
and the product that's not the horizontal siding, but the lap siding. what
Yes,
is
sir.
that product?
It's new cedar. It's a composite product.
And is
Yes,
that new cedar actually going down all the way to grade?
no,
You've shown it there.
well, we have selected a builder and the builder has said that it would be difficult for them to take it all the way to grade. And I spoke to our architect about it and she said it's just a cost factor, but that we could make it stop as we have the cement plank.
Okay, so y'all go back to that elevation again. I think the new cedar product is a good looking product.
Right. Thank you.
I was wondering though about that, see how it kind of continues all the way down to grade in these elevations? And otherwise that band would need to continue all the way around
Yes.
potentially, I think that may be more attractive, actually. And if your builder's not liking it, maybe, would you mind that recommendation? Does that bother you?
No, we would, so your recommendation is
Yes.
as their recommendation or like this?
If we approve it half drawn, then you'd have to come back if you did it differently. So,
There's a reason that structurally that they had requested it not go all the way to the ground. And I think that it had to do with the potential of the wicking or the moisture.
sure.
So their concern was that it went all the way down and then there's access to moisture. So they had asked us to bring it up to be consistent with the stucco foundation on the elevated slab. I mean, the raised slab.
Hey, can you go to the front elevator? Tim, are you asking that it goes, that the stucco comes up?
Yeah, so see, if you see that band right there, that band would continue across here.
Mhm.
Right here, so the home would come right underneath those windows. And then go to the, maybe if you go to the side elevation 27 again. And then the same would be true here, and the same would be true here.
So just all the way across.
And
How about continue it on?
no, I actually don't think I would. Because it's dropped in grade.
And in order for it to even out, we may need to bring some of that horizontal siding down a little bit and on those rooms that you see the peaks in order to even it out so that we're appropriate with the grade and the window levels.
Yeah.
But I think there's two factors from what the builder had explained to us. As the one is that going to the ground is a moisture concern, and I've seen that recently on another home. And then the other thing is it's a cost factor.
Okay,
That new cedar is not an inexpensive product, but we're happy to use it because I think it'll really be a pretty elevation and the addition of your historic district.
It's a bond texture.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll have to work at, you have to get architect work at is your triple windows.
Mhm.
See that band's gonna come right around that triple window and you're gonna want that
Right.
to work out,
Yes.
course out correctly.
Yes. Yeah,
You have to do some slight adjustments.
it will. Our architect assured us that it could all blend. It would be to a point that all blend through. And we'll certainly get another copy of the update to Remy.
I wanted to ask you about your lighting on the outside.
Mhm.
Was there a fixture that was chosen?
On the front, the fixture that's chosen is a gas lantern. And on the side, like the portico share that you see here, the lantern there is actually a new lighting fixture that it is electric, but it also doesn't have any, it doesn't affect wildlife. So
Oh,
it's a product that they're using at the beach so they don't deter the turtles. Mhm. And we would have the same around on the opposite side porch. The lighting over the garage is electric over each bay.
And Remy, what about the left side elevation?
We may also be adding just a little bit of trim on those columns. It wouldn't be anything crazy or excessive, but it might coordinate in with the column that is on the portico share. And of course, we would run that by Remy. It's just a maybe a molding. We've spoken to the builder about it.
Hey, Tim, both the roofs that have metal on them are 3-on-12 pitch, which is getting down fairly flat for shingles.
It is, yeah, it is. Thank you for pointing that out there.
I wanted to ask you about the fencing,
Yes.
the horizontal fencing.
Uh-huh.
That horizontal fencing is a new.
We're seeing it around town a lot, around the community.
We're, I think, we're used to the pickets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but,
It gives a cleaner line. It's in conjunction with the horizontal siding on the home. So it's just the same smooth transition. So you don't go from looking at the home with the horizontal siding and then see the fence now is going vertical. And the columns, what we're anticipating there and proposing would be, those would be brick columns with a nice cap.
Here, you saw.
Where's a picture of the
Yeah.
fence?
Of the fence.
I'm sorry, the
Page 24, you can see it. But you can see a little bit of that one right there. Is there better detail or is that the only?
That's the only detail that we have. Again, it's something we can certainly detail out and get to Remy.
What is the material of the fence?
The fence would be a wood material or a composite.
Right.
We'll price that out,
Mhm.
but it'll be the color of the house, or, it'd be the color of the house, the brick post, and then I'd really like to add, not anything crazy, but the fence, it'd be nice to have maybe a little something nice hardware on the fence. I mean, the gate, sorry.
That
Nothing,
fence goes around the
nothing
whole backyard or is that-
excessive. It goes just around part of the backyard. It really goes the front and then down partial on the left side until we get to the trees. And then we've got to yield to the elm tree and some of the other trees over on the left side. So then it would break and then it would pick up and then it would tie back in to like 2/3 on the side.
I would like to see more of a detail on the proposed fence in terms of the size of the horizontal members but that doesn't preclude everything else being approved if that's what.
That wouldn't hold up. If we want to see different pictures for the fence, that would not hold up the construction of the house itself. I mean, you could come back and
Certainly,
not have to wait for the whole shebang.
sure, happy to do that.
I'd rather see some vertical options as well. Even though your siding is horizontal, somehow the horizontal fence part just looks out of place to me.
Okay,
Well, and you do have the vertical posts on the porch. So
sure.
that's,
All right, so
We're happy to present options for your consideration. We're not married into that. We're more concerned about the floor plan, the elevation, the details that we need to have to move forward with to getting a permit at this point.
So to move this along, I'll make a motion that we approve the house design as shown with 2 caveats in my motion. One is where the new cedar is shown that the band board would continue around and the foundation would be stuccoed below that, much like the lap siding.
Okay,
And 2 is that the columns, the square columns, with much like the last submission, would have chamfered edges and some trim detail to match, similar to the carport column.
okay,
And I would add to that the architect would have the freedom to lower the band board where necessary to,
Make the details work out.
yeah, make them work out. So
Sounds, I agree. Thank you for the,
And then we would wait on the fence.
and yes, in the fence, we'd ask you to resubmit.
Certainly.
Okay. I'll second that.
Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Kempton,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
and I, yes, also.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
This material here.
Next up, I believe, is 308 Sumter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
No.
I am back again. Took me a few months hiatus, had a lot of stuff going on. But you guys wanted a little bit more detail, windows and doors, trim and everything like that. I also have a set of plans that I purchased. But right now they're going through over at Crosby Creations to actually redo them for more South Carolina stuff for the permit and everything like that. But really just a couple engineering things changed on it. But so I created like a 4 or 5 page summary of everything, the doors, exterior, and just wanted to see if you guys had any questions on that.
Well, I think there needs to be some trim detail on that, and on some of your later pictures where it shows individual elements, you do have the trim detail, but on the line drawings, they seem to be absent.
On the those drawings there, or?
Yep.
Okay.
For instance, go to page 40, maybe, well, there you go, you got it right there. Yeah. So we're just saying trim details are on the corners and on the windows. You probably plan to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. So we just need some more detail on those.
You, are you firm on where the cottage is going on your lot?
I mean, I've got some play.
I'm just studying your plan. I was looking and there's so much thought that work went into making the house very symmetrical and looking from the front door all the way through the back and having the pool lined up so beautifully. And then you're off to the right and looking at how that's perfectly symmetrical, all that and with the pool. But the cottage is off center.
It is, and it's really because of that tree. I wanted to be center. I promise you, I wanted it to be center.
Oh, yeah.
My wife wanted to be center. But
Yeah.
it was just it gets really too close to that
Yeah.
the root of the tree, and I just didn't want to. We should,
I don't know what's over there on your lot.
I can't. It's the back left corner is the lowest on our lot, and it's kind of wet most of the time. There's some river birches that grow there. I mean, I could always fill it up and do it there. I'm not really locked into that. It's just I can move it to the other side, just a little bit more land work to do, field work to do.
I was just trying to think outside of the box because my eye immediately goes, it's not centered.
Yep. I know I really wanted it centered. I mean, it was going to be perfect that way, but
Right.
when I surveyed it, was like,
The tree.
yes.
I did want to ask you about the roofing materials.
Yes. Have you guys ever heard of that? Okay. It's an 81-year-old, it's a composite slate roof. And the way I know about it, a good buddy of mine just built a house in Charlotte, in an area called Quail Hollow, sorry. And he has that on his house, and he had to go through a lot of HOA stuff. I've seen it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's very, very, very expensive, but I can live with or without it, to be honest with you. But I was going to see if that was approved, because I've never seen it. I've never seen it around here. But it is a beautiful product. But if it's not, if it is approved, I was going to come back because I've got to re-roof my house. And probably I got to do it now because it's 19 years since it's been re-roofed, and we've got like multiple leaks we're seeing all the time. And I was going to come back and get that approved. But if not, I can go one way or the other. I just wanted to see if you guys have heard of it, get some guidance from you guys for it. But if not, I'm just going to do architectural shingles on that and then to re-roof the house when I come back and, roof it. Yeah, he doesn't have any more of it. And it's like it takes anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks to get. It is very expensive, but it's probably a good little 1/2 inch thick. And it's just a beautiful product. And there's a certain select roofing company. I think there's 2 here in the whole Charleston area that have to do it. So it is pretty
Really nice. I've never seen it. That's really
Is it
nice.
hung like slate too?
I'm sorry,
Is it hung like slate too?
unlike,
Hung like,
oh yeah, well, it's hung,
to have clips?
it is,
That's from.
it's got, I don't know if you can see it there. They put like 1 or 2 nails in it.
Okay.
I wish he had extra because I would have gotten some, but, and if not, it's like I said, it's not a big deal. Maybe I can come back later and, get you guys some samples. I'll try to see if he's got someone there, or I can find the 2 people here that do it and get some samples. But, and it comes in different, it's a combination. You got, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 12, and they kind of mix them up. So it's just not just one, all the way through there. I mean, it's,
Like random widths.
yes. But it's certified for, I think, 81 years, 110 miles an hour. It's, like I said, just the material they estimated already was 70,000 just for my house, just the material. But it is beautiful, and this is my forever home, and I want it to be really, really nice. But like I said, I can take it or leave it, however you guys, and I'll try to get some more information on that.
Again, to move things along, I'll make a approve as submitted with one caveat, which is the addition of trim around the windows. That's our standard detail where, a sill nosing, not picture frame, but a sill nosing, sill trim piece, and then 3-piece trim around the windows and corner boards on the side, 6-inch corner boards on the side.
Yeah, and I'll make sure, because they're doing the plans now, I'll make sure they put the detail on that for that.
And the simulated divided lights.
Yes, well, he shows a window
Yeah.
detail that shows it as similar.
Right.
So I didn't add that caveat because he shows them as wood or vinyl or clad windows. Is that
Yeah, yeah.
accurate?
Yep.
Okay. And they're double hung in nature, shown in the detail, not on the drawing. So you assume that detail is right there. So
I should have them back in they said about 2 weeks. Been there about 4 weeks now. But one more thing, can I put in there that, you don't, I mean, the roofing, I really like to get this to you because I've never seen it, and it may be a precedent for you guys, and I don't want it to, look bad or anything like that, but I can come back while I'm getting all this stuff approved, permitted, whatever, and come back and show you guys and see it before we even get to the roofing and let you guys make a decision.
I think that sounds.
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Okay.
So then I'll modify my motion to say,
What-
with the exception that roof will come back for a
Yes.
second approval of roofing product.
What is our
Can
architect?
he review citing?
Excuse me.
Can he further review the citing? Like, the location
Well,
where
and
it
I
is
guess
on the
Rachel,
site
The
plan?
reason I didn't go that far is because this is located back. We
Mm.
can't see it from anywhere. Nobody can see this except for them.
Okay,
There's a fence with Laurel Street that's 10 feet high.
Yep.
And so literally, it's pretty private back there,
Okay.
and so I just didn't.
If I do put it on the left, you may be able to see it from the street. That is a long way, but you'll still be able to see it.
okay.
And so if this was more public, I
Visible.
would say, yes, it's visible, we need to see it, right? But
Yeah.
because it was so hidden back there, that's why I was given a little more latitude. If you guys feel differently, that's perfectly fine too. If he's come back for the siding, he might just get his details right when you come back all together.
What's the material of the pool house?
It's Hardy, James Hardy shiplap,
Yeah, so
10-inch shiplap.
we've already approved that on the other outbuilding.
I will second your motion.
Okay.
Was that a second? It was a very quiet second.
Oh, Beth,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Kimsey,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
and I also, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well,
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Your roofing.
All right, me
Yes.
too.
Okay, the Somerville Museum.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Oh,
Actually, I was here like 2 months ago for approval at my own personal house, so it's good seeing you all again. I'm with the Somerville Museum, 100 East Doty Street. If you haven't seen us lately, come on by. What you see in the picture in front of you is our proposal for a banner on the front of our building. If you're coming into Somerville from the Moncks Corner area from I-26, it's very easy to miss us, just because the building is fairly nondescript. The awning we have over the front door, the lettering is fairly small. So we're looking for something very tasteful in the same vein as the Art Center has on Richardson, just to let people know what the building is. We and the town have put in a fair amount of money here in the last year to do new flooring, to do new AC. We've put in a number of new artifacts and displays. And so we'd like to share that with the community. So that's what we're proposing. We went ahead, although me having been in sales, I'd love for it to be, bright pink, so you just couldn't miss it, but I think the green is more subdued. I think it fits well with the downtown area. And I think it'll still get our message out as we're hoping to do.
I think it's a great idea to have the banners on both sides.
Thank you.
That building does get just lost and
Gets
everything else
lost.
is just brick.
I've been over like at the Delicatessen on the other side of Main Street and all, and even if you're looking at it, it just kind of blends in. So again, we're looking for a good way that fits well with the area to get our word out a little more.
I
yeah.
love the layout and everything. I was really wondering how durable those are and how long it will last
That's a
and
good question.
whether a permanent sign with the
Well,
same information on it might be a more reasonable approach.
It may be. The ones I know over at the Art Center seem to have held up very, very well over the last, say, 3 years or so. And to be honest, if we have to replace them every 2 years, 3 years, it's not the worst that we could do. Although it is permanent, they're going to be removable so that we can change them out as need be. Because obviously, if they're in bad shape, then they don't they don't do what we need them to do anyway. So
Yeah, I really like it too. I think it's really tasteful and it's a nice size.
our designer for these is right here.
Uh-huh.
Also, if you've seen our billboard down in Charleston on I-26 coming out, Jen also designed that too. So we have quite the talent with us tonight. But anyway, we sure would appreciate your consideration on this. There are, Remy, can you show the other? So that's the front of the building and this is the side of the building. Obviously that one, it would, it would be on the side, but you get the idea. So it's 4 foot by 10 foot. So it's not overwhelming for the side of the building. But I think it'll make it more noticeable than it currently is.
The reason I asked about durability was that these have much more information on them in smaller print than the ones on Public Works, and I wondered whether that might come off quickly.
I would need to find out. I believe that the company we have talked to produce these guarantees it for 2 years. But again, let me verify that because honestly, I don't want to spend in the money to do them if they're going to fall apart. But yes. It's what? Oh, they guarantee it for 2 to 5 years. So I'm a pessimist, 2 years, but
Yes, exactly.
but still in all, we also chose this green, not only because we're the flower town of the pines, but also because that's going to fade much less quickly than something more bright. And so again, the whole idea is to keep the downtown area looking good.
I think they look very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Is
Thanks.
the one on the side larger than the one? in
It's the same
front? It's the
size.
same size?
Yes, ma'am. It's a little, yeah, it looks different just because of the pictures, but they're both 4 by 10.
I make a motion to approve it if everybody
Yeah, I
is
like it.
comfortable.
Like a lot.
Beth?
Can I just say one thing?
Of course.
Why is the font a little small?
Okay. So with I don't want to scream into this, with the size of the banners themselves, would it be okay with everyone here if we took that up, say 2 points? Font size, like 2 to 3 points so that, like, for instance, the little museum with big stories, it would fill, more of that area. You'd be able to read the phone number and our website at the bottom a little easier.
Or at least Somerville Museum.
Sure. Sure. Okay, we can absolutely do that. We'll keep the same size as of the banner, but we'll make the typing bigger.
I think that's a great thought.
Could you just confirm you said 4 feet by 10 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this drawn to scale?
I can't vouch exactly. Honestly, I don't believe that the side of the building is. In dealing with the preliminary approval, that was the size that was recommended to us.
Okay.
But the font will look bigger on.
The font will look bigger in that it'll fill the banner size more.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea to have. I think the font is maybe a little bit small, but I really like the idea of, I'm surprised that there wasn't a sign on this to begin with. When you look at this, I would have thought there would be.
Money.
You and I are equally perplexed. So we're trying to up our game a good bit here in
this
the
is
last
great.
year. So please, I ask you, if you haven't come by Thursday through Saturday, so 10 to 4, come on by and see us.
But I do think that if all the text filled up the space,
Yes, ma'am.
that I don't think it would look as graceful and as beautiful. I like the design of this looks so pretty because
It does.
it's got enough space in it.
Well,
So
perhaps.
while Somerville Museum could be a little bigger, I don't think all of the text should be.
Can I suggest Somerville Museum being larger and our phone number and website being a bit larger? And we can leave the rest of the text and the picture the same size within. Because honestly, that's what we're trying to get across to people. And if you can't see it, it's pointless.
Do people walking by honestly look at your website?
Surprisingly so. Matter of fact, we have a new website coming up just because we've had a number of complaints on the old one.
Yeah.
So
We don't mainly just Google it.
They honestly do. Again, just because it's been done before, if you take a look over at the Art Center, their website is on theirs.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying because they did it, we have to do it. All I'm saying is in trying to find an example that's currently existing, we based we based the information on it on what's already there.
I would leave the two pieces of text at the bottom the same size. and
Okay.
Just make your name a little bigger.
Okay.
It's a really pretty layout and it needs
Thank
the
you.
space.
It's good.
Yes. Very good.
It's a concern I had also.
Okay.
Too small on the side.
No, had concern about making the font bigger and
Mm.
filling up too much of the space.
Okay.
Because
So
you're
we'll
talking-
make the Somerville Museum bigger. We'll leave everything else as is.
Okay.
All right.
Should I alter my motion? Thank you very much. That we approve it with the exception of increasing the size of the font for the Somerville Museum
Yes, ma'am.
and also for the phone and website.
We're going to leave.
No,
I think
That
if-
stays?
we're going to keep it the same thing. We're just our title of some of the museum, we're going to make bigger. And as I understand it, everything else will be left alone.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Let me start over again.
No. You're fine.
Turn off that thing. I make a motion to approve the sign with the change in the Somerville Museum font being a few points larger, but the sign will remain the same 4x10.
Okay.
Finally.
Okay, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Kimsey,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
and I also, yes.
Thank you all very much. Sure do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, the Reformed Episcopal Church.
Evening.
Hello.
Should be fairly simple. We have the house as pictured, 705 South Main Street, built in 1901. Became Pinewood School about 1952 with Harriet Muckenfuss Allen directing the school, buying the property. And Pinewood School moved to Knightsville in, I guess it was 1979, and we bought it from them, the Reformed Episcopal Church and Cummins Seminary. What we have found is that the metal roof you see on the main house, and there's a cookhouse behind it, is not repairable. This is our roofer, David Rosado. And you've got some information about replacing the metal roof with a same colored shingle roof. And that's what we're hoping to do. The metal roof replacement is $170,000 for that building. The shingle roof would be $50,000. The church can't just afford the $170,000. We have 6 buildings on the property, and when we bought it from Pinewood, this is how it looked. It had a black roof on it, black metal, and somewhere in the 1990s, after we bought the property, we painted it red, as you see in those pictures. Also, if you scroll down to the bottom picture, that house was built the same time as the house. That was the carriage house and horse stables for the house back there in 1900. When Miss Allen bought the school, she made that into classroom buildings for Pinewood School and replaced the metal roof with a shingle roof. That's already been done. You weren't in existence then. So what we would like to do is do what has done to that building many years ago to that other building. And that's what we're asking to do. If you have any questions, David is here.
I'm confused about the color. Are you,
Pardon?
are you doing red shingles or you're trying to say you want to go to black shingles?
Well, whatever, probably go to red to keep it what is there now.
Is there really a product that makes red shingles?
You have the information in that spec sheet that you have.
But do you have samples of that?
I don't,
With us? No.
no, not with
The
us.
spec sheet. Has
We-
color on it.
Remy said, give us a
I mean,
spec.
I guess the real question is, would you let them go to shingles? You know, I can show you a red shingle at some point in the future, but that's really the crux of the question. You're talking about a significant, cost conversion for the form sure.
I mean, what I have seen in colored shingles is that they look pretty awful, which is why I was asking if you had a sample, because if it's like the ones that I've seen that are like, I don't know, I can't.
I also think the building looked much more elegant when it had a black roof. And
Well, I don't know if
gonna
we
be
put it
one.
back to black.
Well, let's
Do
talk.
not know if we put it back to black
Okay.
unless you feel that would be appropriate.
I'm just gonna say from my perspective, I would be very opposed to the shingle roof. I think it's inappropriate. It's number one, as far as outstanding architectural merit. It's historic.
Yeah,
I understand.
it's
that
highly
a
visible.
Very significant financial burden for these guys. However, because of its prominence in our town on Main Street, because of the prominence and beauty of the building and the historic nature of the building, I think it would be a travesty for this to become a shingle roof instead of a metal roof. So I think we would be doing a disservice to the town for that to happen.
I completely agree.
I agree with the main building. Tim, how do you feel about the smaller? I thought those smaller buildings were rated as contributory, not important. Remy, what is their rating?
That
The-
building was built when Pinewood School and Mrs. Muckenfoos took the property over. That was her kindergarten building. And that was in 1952.
are you wanting to do anything with the
Pardon?
roof? Are you wanting to do anything with the?
Okay.
You wanting to do anything with the roof on that building?
Yes,
That needs to be replaced.
that's the other attachment with 7.
Oh, is that the other one, not the,
Pardon?
that's that and the main one are the ones
Yes,
you want to do?
yeah.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
do you-
obviously, that's a very significant
Non-contributing.
building in the back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't intend me for that to be, it's a way for a compromise. You know, the main building, I realize that's where most of the money is. And I realize that's where 90% of the money is. But
Yeah.
it's just too significant to switch to.
It's such a visible building when you come into town.
It's a historic landmark in this town. And I feel I know how painful it is. We did ours at our church. It's super
Yeah.
painful. Super painful.
We may come back to you for contributions. But that we just need the decision to see where we can go from here then.
Mhm.
Now, I personally am in the process of having my old standing seam turn roof rehabilitated. And it involves, rather than replacing it, since you can't repair can't get turn metal anymore, doing fabric in the channels and fabric over the ribs, and then putting the elastomeric coating on, and it's supposed to get another 35 years.
Wow.
So I did that on my house as well. So I live in a historic house right across the street from your place here, very close to it. And the roof on the top, I replaced with a new metal roof, but all my dormers, I had 150-year-old cedar siding that came into it. And so I did the exact same thing, David. I had them coated. I had it done 10 years ago and I have had no issues with it.
Yeah, so this roof is already taking on water,
Yeah.
and is cracking in some places, so you now have wet substrate, which if you put an elastomeric over it, it will then trap the moisture will get trapped, and as it heats up, it will bubble and pop that elastomeric.
Mm.
It's not gonna work. This is 125-year-old roof.
Yeah.
It's done.
1901.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing's leaking in 6 dormers.
Couple places.
Both sides.
But if you go back with metal, it'll last you another 100 years, where if you do shingles, it'll last you 20. So for a life of a roof, you'll ultimately get.
Well, if you can get a 100-year mortgage, I
I
mean, do that.
No, I do understand.
Have to check on that.
Why don't you make a motion?
I would make a motion that we not approve the shingle roof on the main building.
I would second that.
Okay, Beth,
Just made a motion for just the one building.
I did, but the dollars are in the big building, it's not the small building. If they wanted to come and say they want shingles on that small building, I would agree to that.
What are you saying about the small building?
I would agree to the shingles on the small building.
Okay, would you include that in your motion then?
Sure.
But are we going to approve red shingles?
Well, that's a different
It's a
matter.
it's a red roof.
It's a red
I,
roof.
I understand that, but the red shingles that I've seen are truly ugly. Like they look
I don't know.
that like, I just can't,
When we
the-
pick the shingle, I'm sure we'll bring it back.
like, I think that we would need to see a true sample of that
Yeah,
if we were
right.
going to improve it. So maybe we just make the motion, we will approve shingle on that roof, but subject to approval of color.
Okay. So I'll adopt my motion to say on the small outbuilding, we would approve shingles on that with the final color to be resubmitted for.
I'll second.
Beth,
You wanna.
Are you saying no?
Like the whole property is in one, and I feel like it needs to be consistent.
Well, there's shingles already on the product.
Yeah, there's
So
shingles
on number 64,
on the back, the old stable building, that's got shingles that,
If we were to, today, in this day, if we were, you came back to say, we would ask you to put metal on that. I think the whole piece of property needs to be looked at as one piece of property. And it is tremendously significant in some of them. That
I
piece of
can
property.
agree that the front of the house, it's along Main Street, people see, but that inside house, nobody sees unless they're on campus.
So
That's how I.
so
Well,
Why don't we
the majority
continue
agree with the motion?
take our vote, and
Yeah.
there could
take
be
a vote.
others who totally agree with you, Beth.
So what would you like for me to do?
No, I'm saying that if we've made a motion that we should take the vote,
Oh, yeah. I'll take
and
the vote.
and it could be that it's defeated.
Sure. Okay. Yes.
yes, for me.
Yes,
So we're voting on your motion, sir?
We're voting.
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Is that unanimous? I don't hear anybody else talking.
no, it's not unanimous.
I'm gonna vote no.
Pardon?
I'm gonna vote no with Beth. But the motion carries.
4 yes and 3 no's?
It's like 5 yes to me.
Huh?
5 yes and 2 no.
But, I'm sorry.
Yes, and 2 no's,
Okay.
the motion carries.
And that's for both buildings, as he made it, right?
No, no.
No, that was your motion,
No, my motion was metal roof on the old building.
right?
Decline shingle roof on the whole building.
yes.
Shingles roof on this small cottage.
Yeah,
We can do
yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right. So we're okay with shingles on that building.
Little guy.
the little one up there. And the big building, we would come back and chuck with some more with the metal.
You guys come back with color on it.
Yeah.
But
Now,
back with the red
I
and
guess-
the roof, I don't, we don't need back here.
Okay, so
So that's what you should.
we
do.
keep, if we keep the red roof, not like the old one, but the red roof, we're okay with that? Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Good luck.
404 Central Avenue.
See a lot of smiles. How y'all?
Good.
That's just a 3-bay garage. It's basic, it's cut and dry. I mean, it's the way it is, the way it looks. So,
I do have a problem with the metal roof you've picked. We don't approve a metal roof with
It's,
oil canning.
it's the
it-
same metal roof that we have on the house. Of course, it's the old metal roof on
Yeah,
the house.
No, we
And so,
require a flat panel with 1 inch standing.
yeah,
seam.
that's a flat panel. It's got the 1-inch standing seam.
Well, the material description looks like it had striations in the metal.
I mean, it's as close to a standing seam I think that you could get now.
But there are two kinds of standing seam material. There's one that has a flat panel and there's another one that has striations in the panel. And we,
Okay, yeah, I
we
see what
do
you're
not,
talking
we
about.
do not approve the panels with striations.
Okay. So I mean, we could change the roof as far as that. Yeah, I think it's not that big a price difference. But that wouldn't be a problem with me
Which
as
is-
far as changing it
I'm
to the
just
flat
pointing out
panels.
what materials we approve, and that's one
Right.
area that we are pretty strong about. That in order to have it consistent with the old standing seam roofs, the panels are flat and the seams are 1 inch high.
Right. I know the architect he might have put it on there as far as what did he have on that? Did he have the 3/4? Should have been a flat. Right, and I guess and that to me, that is similar to a flat.
That's not similar to a flat.
Well, a lot of the ones that,
Flat is flat.
yeah, it's got a little, I don't know what they would call them between the
No, we don't
seams on
approve
them.
those.
No,
Flat is flat.
okay,
And I don't think it costs any more to be flat.
it's not. I mean, I was just going by, I've seen some other ones and they have that same panel on the house that I've got now in different areas where they've replaced some of the standing seam that was there, and that's the same thing they've got on it. So that's why I was going with that. Matter of fact, a lot of the where they've replaced over years, I think there's 2 or 3 gables on the house with that same exact tin over the porch for one.
Oh, man.
On the back.
You know, I tell you, I take a little different position on this garage. I agree with you on the roof, but I also think the garage lacks any architectural detail. And it is on Central Avenue. It's visible for the public. It's not hidden behind
Highly
the house.
visible, highly
And
visible.
This looks like a barn with garage doors on it. And I think it can, with a little bit of work, it can look significantly better than this. And I just don't think the detailing is there. right now. And so I'd like to see them put more detail in this to match some of, pick up some of the architectural details. It's a beautiful,
Of the house.
beautiful house.
Mhm.
I mean, what a beautiful
Gorgeous.
house.
Mhm.
And so pick up some of those details from your house so that this fits in and is equal in quality to your house or your garage. I just think this is.
Yeah, the garage that is currently there was approved as a temporary structure.
And it's just kind of stuck back behind the straight part of the house and.
Well, it is back behind. It would be hard to see it from Central or Laurel unless you go down the driveway. But I mean, I thought the garage looked good as far as the detail and as far as matching it up, I mean, with the house, it's the one next door is exactly like that, except it's got silver tin and white doors. Same exact garage. I mean,
It's not that I'm opposed to the garage. I just think you have an opportunity here to do something nice with some eaves and some space above the garage door so that the roof doesn't hit right on top of the nice canopy. that
it's
you
too
added to
low,
the
isn't
garage
it?
doors. It
Yeah.
needs to be a little taller. So there's some boards, there's some trim around the eave. I mean, it's just.
It's too
not-
barn-like. It
Yeah.
is too barn-like. You look at
Does
that.
look, it does
Mhm.
look barn-like. I was gonna ask what would be your suggestions? But yeah, I like that, raising up a little bit.
Some space between that, put an eve detail around it, put some trim corners. It just needs some work.
I mean, and we could raise it up. I mean, we could go in 9-foot walls instead of 8-foot. As far as the color, I mean, is that gonna, and I could put flat, smooth, flat metal on it. But as far as the colors, is that making it look like a barn? Or is it?
It's the ratio and the
Ratios.
it's not tall enough for that wide expanse. To me.
But pay attention to the doors. Normally we want carriage style doors, so it's like the old time carriage doors, but not these doors that you have submitted here. So that'd be my other suggestion. Your little detail over the garage doors, I like it. Thank you for putting those on there, but I think just some space between that and then trim around the garage doors, trim around the eave. Just make a big difference. And you got a beautiful house to kind of take details from.
Wow, yeah, it's getting there.
And the
Ton of work.
and when you do the window needs to be done with a true sill, stiles and rails.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
And a cap.
Too.
But it's just details.
Okay. So.
As far as, I think the concept is good.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
agree.
I think we're fine matching, obviously the color matches the house and.
And I got, like I said, I got a lot of the ideas from my neighbor, which you could just about see the garage and behind that through the woods. The only difference is he don't have the canopies over the doors and it's just flat and it's a silver roof. And it's all white. But and same doors, he's got the same doors, but they're white doors. So I'm thinking it sounds like the color is just throwing this whole thing off.
Color's not.
Part of it. Maybe the white colors are making them stick out more.
You have the neighboring property picture.
White doors, put some trim. Yeah, white doors, dark hardware.
And that you could see from Central Avenue.
Hope you're well enough to tell.
Right.
Remember that one.
It's like I said, it's just basic.
But with just a little work, you can come back to us and shouldn't have any problem.
Okay, well, I'll raise the roof up a foot but I do like my colors. I hope that'll still go over.
It's some trim. Yeah, I think if the garage doors wouldn't stand out so much if they weren't dark.
Or it could just be that the roof is too low and so the little roofs over the doors are black, the roof is black, and then there's the black roof and it's all just,
There's not.
it's all
Space
just
between it.
coming down too much.
Maybe that up and maybe the roof black roofs and maybe the doors white. Makes
Maybe.
them all blend with dark hardware on it. Makes it.
And a lot of that might be into the way the drawing is, because I mean, it does have a cornice going around it with the 1x6. And it might not show it, but it does make it look like it's sitting right down on the dormers. So maybe I need to get the drafter to just redo some things on it.
I think so.
I think that's most of the issue.
See it.
We're saying some trim on doors and just some additional.
Yeah.
attention.
Make the doors carriage style doors. You know what I'm talking about when I say
Oh,
carriage
yeah,
style doors?
yeah. I'm a woodworker,
Yeah.
so I know everything about wood.
Oh, God. You know how to make this thing look awesome then.
Well, I could, and like I said, it's a lot of the drafted the engineering of it, the way that he's got it, but, it is gonna be a custom garage. It's not gonna be just
Yeah, you're not.
it's not gonna be like the one next door.
Which was a kid.
This is it's a custom garage. So,
Well,
but,
Yeah. Well, help us make it look great then.
well, we'll do it. I'll, be back again.
Thank you. Okay, 115 Marion.
Hello, board. Hello. I'm Sandra King, and I would like to build a garden shed. So I know one of the concerns is probably going to be that the proposed colors and material does not match the existing cottage. And what I was telling Remy is that I want to put an addition on the house, and then once I do that, I'd like to bring the house in line with the shed. So right now the house is a dark brown. So
It's cute in dark brown. Are you tired of it?
it's
Is that it?
very well, I just bought the house. And I love Somerville and I love the lot and I love the trees. But it's just so dark. So
Super cute house.
it is, it's really cute.
Really
It's
cute.
tiny. It's like
Mhm.
900 square feet.
And I'll just go first here, let's get it started. The shed, I like the shed. I'm not opposed to the colors are different. My bigger question is, you mentioned, well, the roof, we probably need to talk about the roof, but you've got board and batten.
Right.
You mentioned that you wanted to change the house to match that.
So the cottage will stay horizontal siding.
Okay,
The addition, so I want to put an addition on a kitchen and maybe a small living area. So the kitchen, I'd like to do board and batten. And then the living area would be the horizontal siding. So that would kind of tie all of it in together. And then I think it would also help differentiate the addition from the original cottage.
thank you for clarifying that.
Mhm.
And your sketch says architectural shingles, but your picture shows a metal roof. So.
Right.
Which is,
Architectural shingles. I think on the drawing it says,
It
this
does.
is the look, but with shingles.
got it. Thank you.
What is on the cottage now?
Shingles.
Shingles.
And I'm not opposed to a metal roof. So I would not be opposed to bringing the cottage back to a metal roof.
That would look great.
Mhm.
Look really good.
Yeah, I mean, I love a metal roof, so.
Mhm.
But you're gonna make everything lighter, you're gonna change the color and brighten it up.
Yes, so I want to do like an off-white color and then kind of like a bluish door.
It's cute. Yeah.
What's the trim detail gonna be on the windows?
Pretty simple.
Hmm?
Pretty simple. I think it's just 1x4.
So no sill?
Yes, I will put a sill in there to match the sill in the cottage.
Ruben, can you go to, do you have any pictures of the cottage?
Hmm.
Has it always been this color from?
I don't know. I just bought the house about 1.5 years ago.
And it's the cottage to the house on the corner.
Yes.
I don't think it's always been that color.
What is the size of your new shed?
18 by 11.
So it's a little bit smaller than this, but not a lot smaller.
I think that is 24 feet,
Right.
the cottage. And then, of course, you know, I will be putting an addition on it.
Right.
So I'll see you guys probably in about 1 year.
So Rachel, I'll just ask you a question. The windows, she's got the windows a square.
Yeah.
It's a rectangular. And I'm
Right.
thinking, if we match the windows and we match the trim around the windows.
That's exactly what I was thinking, is that they're quite similar in scale and size.
Yes.
And I do think that it would enhance both, like, so the both would support each other if you had more rectangular windows, so they're taller than wider.
So on the,
On the cottage, so instead of square windows on your shed, if you just went a little more vertical and had the same trim as this, I think that it might look more intentional, tying all of them together, even when you've added your addition, and make all of it feel cohesive.
I think when I designed the shed, I did the vertical window, but I cut it in half. So it's the same dimension as that window, but it's only half. And then on the two ends elevations, it's the same size.
I didn't follow your description of how you, like, what did you cut in half? How did you cut?
So the window, so it's an upper and a lower window.
Oh,
So the dimension of the upper
you just did
window
the
is,
upper.
yes, I just did upper, and then on the ends, it's the full window that matches that size.
Oh, I see.
There's a drawing in there, Remy,
Remy, if you'll go to.
Could you go back to the elevation?
right there.
Huh.
Would you be opposed to the windows matching in the front?
Are you putting like a bench underneath? Is that what you're
Yeah, it's
thinking?
for storage, and so,
Okay, those would be fixed sash on the front.
yes. I'd probably make them so that, you know, I could open them this way
Yeah,
to let air in.
I
but
understand,
I'll put window
yeah.
boxes on the front of it.
And simulated divided lights.
No, true.
Hmm.
True divided.
Better.
right.
Absolutely. I'm looking for old historical windows right now.
Remy, could you show me the site plan? So I'm just trying to understand, when I'm looking at this, I'm going to see the front view and part of the side view. So I'll see little windows on the front and a longer window on the side, and the longer windows on the cottage. Where are you going to put your addition when you do that?
So see where the wood deck is on the house?
Yes.
So I'd like to come out from there about 40 feet.
And go into the middle of the property?
Yes.
Okay,
So make it like L-shaped.
okay.
So you
Yeah.
you can't see the cottage from. the
No,
street.
I hear what you're saying.
It's pretty
You
lit with
inherited a huge
with azaleas.
fence.
Pardon?
You inherited a huge fence.
Yes, I did. I'm trying not to let it bother me.
Approved and submitted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allow her to choose between a shingle and a metal roof if she wishes.
I'm okay with metal if you guys want to do metal,
We leave it up to you.
okay? You prefer the metal?
Okay.
Okay.
I think the metal would be nice.
It
I
won't
think
be
the metal would
100 years
really
old,
nice.
but. And
Just remember, no striations.
no straight.
Flat panel.
I was listening.
Make a motion that we approve it as submitted, but with a metal roof.
Okay,
Her choice.
At her choice, yeah.
my choice.
between metal.
Okay.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel?
Yep.
Kimsey,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
and I also, yes.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, 124 Dorchester Avenue.
Good evening.
How's it going? We are proposing to do a replacement window project on at 124 Dorchester Avenue. I'm with Window World, and we're looking to put a vinyl replacement window in the home.
What's in there now?
Just existing wood windows.
I can't tell from the photos, do the windows have divided lights now? They do, don't they?
There's two in the dormers up top that do currently, and those four that it looks like there are windows on that second floor are doors.
Oh, gotcha. That's what I'm
Oh.
looking at. Those are doors.
So the 1, 2, 3, 4 down low, along with many others throughout the home is what we're proposing to replace. I
Gotcha.
believe those dormer windows were not,
You're not replacing. the
we're not
dormer.
replacing those.
But everything else.
Yes, all the other windows in the home.
And it's all gonna be the 1/1.
Just a clean, clear plain view in the top and bottom sash, like for like with what's in place now.
Are they tinted? I was looking at the photographs and it looked like they were tinted in the photograph.
Not 10, it's just a low, excuse me, it's a low E coating, which is designed to reflect sunlight back off of the glass. It's not a tint.
I think that house would look so much better with 6/6 grids. Architecturally.
Remind me again what you said you're replacing with. It's vinyl.
A vinyl product.
And is there a grid?
No grids, which would be the ones that currently do not have grids.
Do the windows have sills?
Yes. Slope, excuse me, slope sills on the exterior, and then the existing trim brick mold wood sill, we're leaving in place. So just setting the window as a replacement window rather than new construction.
And Remy, this is not rated as,
This is new construction.
It's a newer house. It has no rating.
I see where you had a door replacement as well.
We're potentially replacing the back two doors. Yes, ma'am.
But not.
I believe the front door is being replaced as well.
You have a sheet on what that looks like?
I do not.
Okay, we would need to see that
Okay.
unless it's matching the existing. Exactly.
Okay.
Front door looked pretty nice.
Hmm.
Didn't it? Glass panel door.
I'll make a
And then
motion
there's-
that we approve as submitted, except for the door, which you have to come back for the front door.
Absolutely.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Yes.
and I, yes, only because it's replacing existing design.
You
Okay.
still get a
Thank-
yes.
Man,
You still get a yes, even though it's wrong.
thank you. So we'll resubmit the door application.
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 219 Sumter.
Good afternoon. We're
Hello.
today to present a proposal for a 160 square foot addition to a residence located at 219A Sumter Ave.
The footprint will be the same as it is now.
Yes.
It's just closing in a portion.
Exactly. There's a 14 by 12 covered portion of the porch that we would just be filling in.
Mhm.
So the footprint stays exactly the same.
How are you making it waterproof?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
How are you making it waterproof? You've got an open deck, you've got a deck above.
Right, we would have to coordinate with a structural engineer, of course, but we'd probably scissor the floor joists and then add flooring on top of that.
Tim, hey,
Hey.
Steve Coe with
Hey,
Kathleen
Steve.
Co. We'll have a waterproofing membrane on that deck. It already actually is. They've got a ceiling on the porch, so it's a waterproof, like a. I don't know the exact name.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's good.
I saw where you were replacing some doors.
Correct. The owner would like to have added security and privacy to their house. And so our proposal swaps these full light doors with doors that would have additional security and privacy. We still want to maintain the stained wood and match materiality as closely as possible.
Any comments?
Nope.
Have a motion?
Could I add one thing? This meeting, I requested it for BAR conceptual. Could we make a motion for BAR, the final approval? I'm not sure.
Is
I
that
ma-
all right, Lenny?
Yeah, if the board's comfortable making a decision, you can make a decision on it.
Have a
Aye.
motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the change to the door and the addition for final approval.
Second.
Okay, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Kimsey,
Yes.
yes, Jean,
Yes.
and I, yes, also.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
See you.
Now we get 855 South Main.
Sure, guys. Yeah, so I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Michael Kaneda. I'm with Greenberg Farrow. We're the architects with Work District. Had here tonight, our project designer is Jonathan. If I may, if we could kind of walk through the project and just kind of flip through some of the pages. better explain how we got to where we are. So I'm gonna hand it off to Jonathan.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
So we actually have two action items. This is one proposal, but there's kind of two pieces to it. The first would be demolition of the existing wing, and then the second would be the proposal for the new addition. So if we kind of go through it, the current wing back there is about 14,500 square foot. It's 13 classrooms. It's kind of it's getting old, dilapidated. So they want to demolish it and then build back larger for more school capacity. So the footprint for the proposed addition is generally the same, but it is 2-story. It'll be 34,000 square feet. Like I said, 2 stories, and it'll be 24 classrooms with some swing spaces and teacher workrooms. So again, just kind of building up that school to be more useful for the current population that will be using that school, which is, as you know, drastically increasing. So this is showing the demolition of the existing wing and the kind of existing pictures of what that looks like. So you can kind of see a little bit of the existing building to stay, and then the back wing that's to be removed, as well as that kind of exterior connector piece. Again, this is more just showing the existing photos of the complex. So with this school, there's kind of a lot of little additions here and there, kind of got built on more and more as the years went on. So we have the main school, which is kind of a bit older, and then we have as you can see on the lower portion, is the existing cafeteria expansion. So that was originally for the high school, and now it's just been kind of brought into the main Somerville Elementary School. And then if you go to the next one, we then show another addition, which is the multi-purpose room, which was done in 2014. And so that's a little bit more contemporary, a little more kind of to the times, not as old as the other stuff. Then you kind of see to the adjacent to the property is the actual old Somerville High School, which is now being used as the Dorchester District 2 headquarters. And then the lower images are just kind of showing some of the images of, the local vernacular with the brick and all that. So this is the first floor plan of our proposed addition. We currently have 11 classrooms on the first floor, as well as storage and teacher workspaces. We also have an enclosed connector to the existing school. And then on the second floor, we'll have 13 classrooms, as well as teacher workspaces and support spaces. So these are the proposed elevations of the new addition. The upper elevation is actually going to be the rear elevation, which will face the current bus loop of the school. And so that won't actually be seen from Main Street. The lower image all the way at the bottom is going to be the one that actually faces towards Main Street, South Main Street. Because of the building that is actually in front of this new addition, you really won't see much of it. You'll kind of see the very, very top of it. And then as you can see in the middle, we have the two end pieces. So the one on the left is going to be the kind of new main entry where the bus loop students will come into the school. That's also kind of where the current car loop is also going in at the multipurpose area. And the right elevation is facing towards the current district headquarters. These are showing our proposed materials, as well as some of the detailing of what's going to go on with that kind of more vertical pilaster element we have going on. So you can see on the left, we have the proposed brick is to match very much like the campus. So the top image is going to be our main field color with that kind of reddish brick with those accents of that more darker black and brownish color. And then we have the tannish yellow brick that's going to be our banding, our accent color to match with that banding. And then the lower image is just showing the existing headquarters, which has a lot of that cast stone sills and headers and kind of those elements that we're playing off of in ours with the sills and headers, and then our little accent pieces at the very, very top. As you can see in our details, we're kind of using a lot of cornicing and protrusions and reveals to kind of make that the elevations, which are kind of very long and sparse, make them kind of a little bit more I guess, aesthetic as far as, you know, not just being flat and simple. And then these are just some some renders of what it will look like with the materials and all that stuff. And so as you can see, the first one on the top left, that will be kind of where the students will enter from the bus loop. That's kind of, you can actually see that, you'll see that elevation from Stadium Circle. The one on the right is kind of to the side of it, where you'll only really see that from the bus loop. The one on the bottom left is you'll see from the district headquarters, and you might maybe see a little piece in between the cafeteria addition and the headquarters when you're on South Main Street. And then the far right, bottom right, you kind of can see, we kind of superimposed what the addition would look like, kind of peeking over the top of the existing and the mechanical units on that roof. So you really won't see too much of it, but you will see, kind of get a glimpse of the top cornicing and that. And then these are just images kind of showing those kind of elements that we are taking and using a little bit closer.
Where will you be using some of those elements?
So specifically the sills, the cast stone sills and the cast stone header, we'll be using those in our more vertical elements. Yeah, as you can see, if you you can zoom into the more vertical pilasters, you can see over top of the windows, and there we'll be using that. So those kind of areas are meant to be the more highlighted areas, and the rest will kind of just fade away and fade back.
I'm sure the grass is that green on.
Yeah.
I wish, that's what I think we'll try to do about it. There is a slope difference too. It slopes pretty far down if you through the site. So you know, further you are, it's it drops.
So the actual school itself is actually in kind of 3 levels currently. So you have the main level of the existing school, and then the addition, or sorry, not the addition, but the next wing, which includes the cafeteria expansion addition. That's at another level, which is about 2 foot lower than the main school. And then if you drop again about 5 to 6 feet, that would be the current existing wing all the way in the back. We're proposing to bring that up about 6 inches. So we're still kind of maintaining that drop down. But because of that, that kind of allows us, with the 2 stories now, only slightly being able to see, opposed to being really
tall.
Visible. Yes, correct.
Could you go to whichever page it is that shows the cornice details?
I think it's a nice design. It blends well with the old school elements. Appreciate y'all bringing in some cast stone into it. I know it's a limited use of it, and but done it well, I think. So I don't really have any comments.
You have the corridor from the old school going to this 2-story addition that will be enclosed.
Correct. And it'll just be 1 story, just be the first floor will come down. And that actual connection will, because of the drop about 5 feet, it will actually ramp down that whole way.
And is that, so it's not a step down, it's a handicap accessible.
Correct.
Is there anything, do you have a picture of what that looks like? It's in the rendering.
If you go to, so if you go to the elevations, you can kind of see it. And then we can show the renders. So if you look, so you have the 2-story main piece in those middle images. That is the main school. And then the lower 1-story piece is the connector.
Right. And that's just solid masonry.
Was that?
Yes. Is that connector just masonry? There's no windows or anything?
Well,
No, there will
You
be
see
storefront
the,
windows in there.
It's that where it drops down in the middle images or little drawings. It drops down.
Correct,
Yeah,
right there.
correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the, that's
okay.
the,
Yeah.
Correct.
why are the windows?
Stepping up.
Maybe,
It's because of the ramp.
Yeah, it ramps down.
Great. So
And so to avoid having the handrail go through a window, we've raised them instead.
There be any way to make that just
Yes. I don't think the district would like to pay for that, but I would love that.
when my kids went there, it was just all open. So if they had to run from the first building to the second building during the storm or whatever, during school, they were wet. So, I mean, this is a great remedy for that, but it would be nice to have more light in there.
Kids are getting soft now.
That's right.
And I guess that looks the same on both sides.
Correct, yes.
That's a minor thing, but I'd like to see a little bit of projection at the very top. I think right now it's got a metal cap.
So we do have
Yeah.
cornicing at the top.
If you could flip to the next page, on 26. Yes.
So there's the two top details are going to be where your cornicing happens. So if you look at the one that's closer to the brick sample, yeah, that one right there, that one is going to be the main building. So you can kind of see that we step it overall an inch, so half inch for the upper piece, and the upper piece will be a soldier, and then just a standard course that kind of both protrudes to create that cornice. And then if you go over to the right, that one right there will actually be the cornice at the vertical pilasters. So again, we've kind of changed up what it does. So in that case, we do a soldier and then a standard course. And in that one, we're actually going further out. So it's an inch and an inch. So it's overall total 2-inch cornice there.
I guess I was looking at the stone cornice on one of the other buildings, projected a little bit more.
Can you show us that? David, you remember where you saw that?
Well, that's what, look at the third color picture down.
Him in on that middle picture, if you don't mind. Take it. Got that big steel bracket underneath, so it's kind of hard to tell really what's going on there.
Is that a metal cap or a stone cap?
So that's gonna be a stone cap, but it's over top of that like aluminum channel. But yes, that top does look like it is a stone cap.
And I think that looks nicer to me than just a metal cap. That's small.
Remy, could you go back to the proposed 3D renderings they had? So you can see those details along the top band, but also on the porticos that you've emphasized. So you're looking for approval of the demolition of the existing wing? And conceptual approval of this? Is that what you asked for?
So if it's possible, we prefer vinyl, if it's okay with the board.
Just for me, I am not ready to vote on this. I think this is a huge project for. I mean, I know that the original building probably needs to be demolished. And I really don't have a problem with that, but as far as the design and all, I would like a little bit more time to study it. I don't know how everybody else feels, but it looks very sterile to me. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the building. To me, it looks very.
I think that's what,
Good evening.
what I was getting at in terms of a little bit more projection at the top.
So I'm Tony Souls. I'm the capital project facilitator for the district. We do have to get the demolition started on June 2nd. That's why we're here tonight. We have already submitted the design documents to the Office of School Facilities at the Department of Education. And we're going to get those reviewed. Pretty quick turnaround on that. We anticipate having students in this building, in the new building, in 2026, August the 26th. So that we're kind of crunched on time. So the time consideration is and fiscal consideration as well is my job to make sure that we're on track, on schedule, and on taxpayer dollars as well. So just please take that into consideration while you're, if you need more time to take.
It's a school and it's got to be useful and you're trying to keep kids safe, trying to have light that comes in when you can, but it's I don't know if it's possible to make it beautiful at this point. It's utilitarian, and I know that is what we don't always like.
Unfortunately, when we're spending taxpayer dollars, we have to consider the usefulness of the space.
Yeah.
Before we take into consideration other aspects of it.
Mhm.
And we're very tight budget, and believe me, I've broken this gentleman's heart on several occasions during this whole process, and it's budget driven.
Sure, absolutely. I think for me, I would approve it because it's necessary and it can't be as beautiful as the original high school with it just can't. We don't have the money for that. And I know that, but that's just my opinion. I'll have to see what everybody else says.
You don't have very much time to
Well,
build this.
We've got a very compressed construction schedule. We hope to have it all permitted and demolished by the end of this summer. I know the permitting process, we've already got most of our civil permits are already in, and we're cracking the whip on those and making phone calls and pushing as hard as we can. We anticipate the construction time to be somewhere around 10 months. So it's going to be quick. It's going to be a quick turnaround on this thing, but that's
Is it two separate votes? Are we voting to demolish the current and then separately voting on the new?
Would be right, Dave? Be two separate votes.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
I mean, I'm fine with the.
And would it be possible to get printed copies to be able to see these? Because when I was looking on my computer and even looking here, it's just very little and hard to see the detail that you're talking about.
what printed copies, you wanted printed copies of all the color stuff or just the construction documents or design documents?
I'm really interested in being able to see the plans clearly, understand what's in what rooms, like the corner that has bigger windows, what is that room and why is it different? And being able to see then the whole, like be able to look at it. Like, I just cannot look at it on my computer screen and really understand the scope of what it is and what's the pattern and
How
the
many
rhythm that you're
copies, how
setting
many
up.
copies would we need?
So they have had times
I
when,
had that problem too, Rachel. Last
Yeah.
night. It's really frustrating trying to really.
yeah,
step
I appreciated you walking through so carefully because it was easier to understand the scope of what you were doing. But it is very difficult to just see it enough on my computer screen.
Rachel, let me clarify for these guys. Do you need just like the elevations and floor plans? You don't need all the details and, I mean, you know.
I do not need the details. I'm really interested in just understanding the like the campus, the locations of things, the distances, and then the pattern that you've set up on these elevations and cross-referencing that to your floor plans.
And I would like to see a site plan where it relates to the district building, where it relates to, I don't know what a
I
bus.
think we have the site plan on there.
Yeah, that was.
That's on, that should be the first several pages.
Yes, we have just in,
There you go.
if you could actually go up to the very first page. If you zoom in over there, show.
Can you go in and label?
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Like that, yeah.
We can extend it.
We can make it
also
bigger as
to
well.
include
All right.
buildings.
I guess the question I'd have is, as far as printing it goes. So when we print it, it's gonna be very small. Like if we do like an 11.5 by 11 by 17, it's gonna be even smaller than. Do you want a full size?
This, and it's not large enough.
Correct. Yeah. So if you want like a full, like we have those sheets in 30 by 42, they're very large. Would you
Oh,
like
they're
that?
30 by 42.
We don't need 7 of those.
No.
Yeah, we don't.
I don't, I'm fine.
I don't need one, but I want to go, I'm gonna actually go look at the actual spot.
So then maybe 2 copies? Does anybody else want one?
Yeah, I don't need one.
Okay, 2 copies?
Okay.
If you would like, we can also walk you through some of the, I guess the spaces, if you go back to the floor plan.
There's a lot of acronyms that we use, a lot of the, like this, all that stuff in the very middle right there where the cursor is, as to special ed classrooms, and there's a lot of acronyms in there. And some of them, even I have to look back and to figure out what they are. So if you're unsure of what you're looking at, please ask questions.
So maybe like on the elevations, there's a place where the windows are all symmetrical, except one corner is missing. Why is that corner missing?
Which specific corner? So I know the one far corner, which has the large windows, that's actually the stairwell. So that's to bring in more light into the stairwells.
Right where his cursor is.
So that is also a stairwell as well. And so where you're seeing where there should be a window is actually the middle of a landing. So we don't want to put a window there. But if you go to, so if you look,
Landing that would be with band, with striping. The window would be on the first floor.
correct, yeah, the
Yeah, it
windows
would
and the landing would be basically in the middle of where that window would be.
Oh, I got you.
So instead of like having to like see someone, their feet and the part of the landing. And then, but also, so if you look at the middle image on the left, you can kind of see we have a large expanse of storefront. That's all glazing, and that'll go into that kind of central area. And so that is actually gonna be shared daylight for that entire stairwell. So that stairwell is gonna be the brightest space of the entire building. And then also to give you a little bit more information, all those windows, those big windows in each of the classrooms, those are about, I think it's like 6 by 8. So they're pretty large windows. So each classroom has at least 2 windows. And then the special education will have a door as well. So there's plenty of light coming into those classrooms. And then we're hoping that we have at each of the ends, we've got windows as well to bring shared daylighting into those corridors. So we're trying to think very much about bringing that light in without going too crazy with the budget and trying to do all full glass walls.
Look, considering the timeline y'all are working under, would it be possible for us to have a special meeting to go over the architectural details before the next board meeting?
It would be possible as far as the specifics of public notice, and finding a time that works for everybody. We'll have to kind of lock in on that tomorrow and see if we have times that we're all available to do that.
Is that something the other board members would appreciate, or? I think we can probably vote on the demolition tonight, and the building, excuse me, I think we're just looking at architectural details on it. Am I wrong on
That's
thinking
that's
that.
sort of where I'm at. I mean, I would be fine voting for the demolition. And conceptually, I mean, I think this is really well done. And I think, you know, you have a lot of, you've really put a lot into this, but yeah, if we could do something else for that, like final approval, I would be more comfortable with that.
What the other board members think about.
Wouldn't you say it could be?
I'm not sure yet. I would have to look into I think it's like a 15-day public notice requirement. We'd also have to compare all of our schedules and see when all of us could be present for it. So we'll have to do some back and forth on a date.
And I guess the next thing would be the June meeting.
Mhm.
Which there wouldn't be probably much difference between those.
Ultimately, at that point, it might be a week difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also have Memorial Day in there too. So you're gonna have Memorial Day weekend that week before our meeting. So might be tough.
Can you tell me what are the window frame colors and what are the doors that are not glass doors? What are their colors?
So the windows would match the existing, which I believe is white. As well as that would be the cornice cap and the downspouts. And then the other doors, they can either be kind of the reddish to match, or we could also do them as a gray. So it really depends on which way we'd want to go.
Okay.
Well, do we have a motion and a second for the demolition?
I'll make a motion that we approve the demolition of the existing building.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Beth? Tim?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
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 Kimmy?
Yes.
And yes. Okay. Now,
Let me ask one thing. I know you have to give a certain amount of time to do an extra meeting. Would it be impossible to have the extra meeting be the night before our June meeting?
I mean, it wouldn't be impossible conceptually speaking, but again, we'd have to meet public notice requirements and make sure that we're all available to do that. So it would be dependent on everybody's schedules and then any staffing scheduling as well. I would have to confirm with my department head.
Yeah, the holiday makes it more awkward also.
On the bottom of this elevation, the two little windows, what is that room behind there?
Sorry, where?
The bottom elevation, yeah, right there, those rooms.
So those are going to be in the, they're called Reset and what's the other one? I can't remember. It's more,
It's in a BIR, I believe.
it's gonna be on the plan. I can't remember the name of it, but basically they're special education rooms.
Yeah.
So it's-
quiet rooms.
And are they facing into that space between the two wings?
So yeah, it's right there.
Mhm.
It's like a sensory room. That's it. So it's more like a guidance area. So
Mhm.
when students need to be pulled out of classes, they need to
Yeah.
calm down and be,
Yeah,
in their own kind of space. Those are the spaces that kind of are for them. And so we need higher windows
yeah.
so they can't,
Mhm.
damage the window or injure themselves.
Can you show me the color elevations again so I can see the white?
And again,
Oh, I
a lot of
see.
that is going to be in that kind of middle courtyard where
Yeah.
not a lot of people will be able to see that. You'll kind of have to be in that space to really see a lot of those windows.
The next scheduled meeting for us would be the 3rd, which is immediately after Memorial Day.
I thought Memorial Day was the weekend before,
It is. Right.
the week,
Memorial Day is
the week,
last
the
in-
weekend before that.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, It's in May.
They're not doing it the way they used to,
No, not the last, yeah,
the last 40 years.
I think
right.
it's the last Monday in May,
I think it's, the 26th.
26.
Yes,
What's
26.
your start of construction schedule?
Start of construction schedule is August 1st.
August.
That'll give us time to get our building permit from the Department of Education and hopefully have all of our stormwater and everything. else.
Start excavation, foundations. on-
Start our foundation work.
So it's a tight schedule for
It's
them. And it's a 10-month schedule for this is a tight construction schedule for sure.
What are the serious concerns anybody on the board has about this project?
Thank you. I do think it would be helpful because for them to have any hope of making that, they would need to know those tonight and come back for approval with the revisions to hope to make that. And they would have to be pretty minor in nature. If they were major, there would be no hope of that. If they don't get our comments until a month from now, there's no way they'll make that right first start.
I'll give you my overview thoughts then, which is that you've created a building that has a rhythm that goes through it. And given the nature, which is a very long, low building, and that you're working with other schools, I think that it's that it just has a, you know, a really quiet, gentle quality, which in the end is very nice. It's got texture, it's got colors, it has a rhythm through it. You've got your little big, you know, the bays that go down at the three larger bays. And my thoughts are, when I was looking at the elevations, I see some stairs on the corner and it looked like the same size windows on the sides and the end. But then on the elevations, they don't look like that. It's the 3Ds that have that. So I guess I just want to really look at them and match our plans, matching what I'm thinking that they're doing so that it's going around corners and looking like I thought it would. And I do understand that the end elevation, the upper window could, in just drawing it, looks little, but you've got all this other additional trim so that it still, I think, fits appropriately. So my comments are not major or significant. It's just that I honestly couldn't read the drawings well enough to be able to understand fully what I was looking at and be able to sign off and go ahead and build this great big building. I need to look at it. And those are the kinds of things that I just want to double check.
So.
I guess in those regards, maybe you can answer a couple of those questions. So like for these two elevations we see here, you mentioned that the window's missing here because there's a stairwell. And then we go to the other corner down below. And it appears, I think there's another stairwell here. But these windows are sized differently and they're on both corners. So is that accurate? Are there two stairwells on either end like that?
Correct, they're on kind of catty corner.
Gotcha. So why were the windows on this end oversized and the windows on the other corner are not oversized and only one provided versus two provided?
So the reason why the ones in the upper left image only has the minimal window there is because we have that large storefront window all the way to the end there. So in order to kind of save a little bit of budget, we put the money in that kind of main entry area. And also shared that daylight for the stairwell. And so by doing that, we kind of reduced the other windows there. Where on the other side, it's just more utilitarian. So we still want to get that light in. That's not supposed to be a focal point for the elevation. Kind of just another stairway, opposed to the main stairway.
Got it. I mean, it makes sense. I see what you're talking about.
We tried to get as much light into those corridors. It's just long corridors. You know, it's really very hard to do that. But I think we struck a balance as much as we could with the budget, and short of adding skylights, which tend to be a huge headache for the district. This is, you know, really our solution for that.
You know, I thought the rhythm across the front of the building was nice. It has a traditional element to it, which speaks to this location in town. I appreciate y'all doing that. It's still a modern design ultimately. It's not a replica of an old school, but has some feelings of an old school there. the repetition of the three pilasters, or I'll call them, what's the right term for that?
Yeah, you can come back.
Three bump outs.
Yeah.
Okay. The bump outs are so minor. So could it be possible that those bump outs are exaggerated a little bit, just so that you read them a little better? Because right now, looking at the drawings, it appears to be only like an inch, a couple of inches.
So those pilasters are actually 4 inches protrusion, the overall of it. And then as you go up, the cornices actually get further.
Right.
So overall, the very, very top, you're probably looking around 6 inches, but at the base, at tangible feel level.
Literally is 4 inches, right? Yeah. But would it
They're
be-
most noticeable because you have white gutters or white downspouts.
Right. Kind of accent with that, but.
Again, we tried to do the best we could with the budget we had. We'd love to bump it out, but that's gonna add cost to the project, and also the functions of those classrooms can affect it. Point out, I guess so the bottom right image, that's taken from the parking lot. So stepping back into Main Street, there's a lot of street trees. You would barely see the top if at all.
Oh, yeah, I agree. The Main Street
Yeah,
side
it's-
is.
Are you looking at the dumpster right there?
Yeah.
You will be
It's
able
so
to see,
far back.
you will be able to see the dumpster, and
You'll never.
we're trying to figure out, how, at the end of this project, what we want to do, the horseshoe there that comes, you had children there, so the horseshoe, that used to actually be a county road. As well as Brooksmore Parkway, which comes off of Joyce Lane back on the Main Street. That was a county road as well. Several years ago, we went and petitioned to the courts and the DOT, and those are actually district property now. So at the end of the projects that we have in this area, this should be about the last piece of the puzzle. We're gonna go in there and try to reconfigure that whole parking area with the dumpsters and
Bring the HVAC up on the.
some screening as well. Yes. So we're going to try to reconfigure that whole area to make it look a little more Main Street worthy.
So I'm just asking, on the side where we said, oh, you really see these bays because the downspouts are so bright and they highlight it. On the inside courtyard, there's no downspouts.
Correct. So we have a.
So it
lot of
all
slopes.
just slopes to the outside.
And that's to keep the water out of that courtyard. And
Yeah,
create
I
issues.
understand. Yeah.
Do we have any more comments?
Last thing that I'll say is that I was looking for more architectural elements that would look like Somerville. But maybe this isn't the place to carry those through. I don't know, there's nothing to say this isn't in Greenville or whatever, just. But maybe that's the nature of a school building.
I think a lot that has to do with it too is it's behind the building. You really can't, you can only see a thin ribbon at the top of it from Main Street. So I think that was part of it as well. So.
It's not facing Main Street.
I do think though that this building feels more urban than many schools that I've visited that feel completely suburban and they're just plopped down in a field. And there is no sense of an order to them in the sense that this has a pattern and a rhythm through it, and the 3 bays are more town-like than suburban field-like.
I agree.
So I feel that it does feel appropriate.
Yeah, I think your presentation was really great. Like everything that anybody asked, your answers were great and really well thought out. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, very, very nicely explained.
Think of it this way, it looks better than most of the other school
Mhm.
districts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks good
Lot
for
better
a
than-
school. I
what's that, the
mean,
Bows up here on 78.
Those, yeah, those. I like to talk about those.
I mean, it does look good. I mean, it is a school and it does look nice.
Does
nicer than any
someone
school I
want to
went
make a
to.
motion?
I'll make a motion and just try to move this along. I'll make a motion that we approve the estimate.
I'll second.
Beth?
Not yet, no.
Tim?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Becca?
No,
Kimsey?
only because I haven't looked at it hard enough.
Um, yes, I think I will. Yes.
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 All right. Guys.
Somerville Baptist.
Good evening. My name's John Nettles. I'm the Facility Maintenance Director at Somerville Baptist. We're looking to add a door from our facility onto our playground for our ever-growing preschool department. So we need more space for our kids, so. And they have to have an exit straight into the outside, so it's requirements.
Sense.
They did provide an exhibit showing that the door will be slightly moved to the left here. I printed that out and forgot to bring it upstairs, so just a heads up on that.
You're basically gonna put on 145. You're gonna put a door there. That,
Or
In that
146.
red square, it's, yeah, right there to the left of that, right there, yes,
Mm.
on that.
Oh, I don't know. This is a hard one.
We're gonna brick in that wooden panel and that other grill and stuff up there and take all that ugly out. Close that up.
Where is the door in relation, like in this middle photo, the five existing playground? Where's the door?
All the way back under that blue awning, way back.
Oh,
Have to zoom in closer. Yeah, it's way back on the very back wall. Yeah, a little white of that roof line that was up there from the old, it was an old fellowship hall that was there, so.
Where do they come out now? What door do they use now when they go out? To the playground.
The playground, that's a new classroom is what we're trying to put in there.
Oh, I see.
And they don't have access to that or a emergency exit out of the building. And since they're 5-year-olds, they have to be able to get out right directly to the outside, so. All the rest of those children exit right out, so.
And will it be a white door like the other doors are?
It'll be just like the other doors along there, those white doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
any other comments?
Is that what we got spec for it right there? Okay, hollow metal, yeah. So we have a side light like that on there? I thought it was gonna have the windows like the others were. Okay.
There a motion?
And that we approve it as submitted.
Second.
Okay, Beth,
Yes.
Tim?
Second. We're doing the work, so I can.
Yes.
Becca?
Yep.
Kimsey?
Yeah, yes.
Nancy Jean?
Yes.
And I, yes.
Thank y'all very much.
Sorry you had to take 2 hours for that.
Yeah.
You'll have a blessed evening.
You too.
I
daughter, we go to church there. and she's-
We have 112 East Sixth.
Well, good evening, board. I want to talk to you about putting windows in the rear of my house. And I would like to say that this is not part of the original house. This was an addition that was probably put onto the 1890s house, probably in the 1930s. Okay, and I'm looking to put basically maintenance-free windows in there, obviously energy efficient. And, you know, also already we've kind of got a combination of different windows on this addition already. So that's what I would like to propose in front of you guys. The other thing is we also laser measured all of those windows right there, and they're all different sizes. So there's really no there's no consistencies there. So again, there are cost issues, obviously, because every single one of those windows is different. So just really looking to put a maintenance-free, energy-efficient windows in there.
Just those 4 windows?
Just those 4 windows, yes, sir.
So
And
what,
that, you know, obviously there's a lot of light that comes through there, so it just kind of gets very hot in there too. And obviously the windows that we've got spec'd going in there are very energy efficient too.
what did you pick?
Excuse me?
What kind of windows did you pick?
They're on the specs here, just kind of vinyl windows, but they've got the same months as the original windows.
And you have sloping sill.
Yes, yeah. And really, I you know, to be honest with you, this is kind of the rear of the house. I you know, from the street, I don't think anybody would know a difference of the windows.
And the grids would be on the outside of the window.
I believe they are. Yes, sir.
Well, if they conform to our criteria for the divided lights, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I don't see a cut sheet on the divided line. So
Yeah, I don't see that
we'll
either.
go to the next page and let's just.
Here we go. Black grids between the
They have
glass,
simulated divided light.
simulated divided light. Oh, those are
Level
three
there, your
different.
profile.
But they are offered with a simulated divided light.
And certainly, look, we love this house and we want to obviously keep the integrity and the look. We're all about that.
So I would just say, I mean, typically I would be opposed to vinyl windows in a historic house. And so if this was a whole house replacement, I would absolutely.
Agreed.
go with this.
Agreed.
Because he has 4 windows in a hidden location on the back side of the house. I would kind of say.
Oh,
probably
in an
a little bit
addition.
of, yeah, it's probably okay.
Amen.
First saw this, I thought it was your whole house.
No, and this, like I said, this is, and look, trust me, if this was on the original house, because again, I appreciate what you guys do. I really do, keeping the integrity of this town. We've been here 10 years. We love it. And, you know, thank you for what you do. But I do believe with this being an addition on the side, that this really is kind of issues, you know, kind of.
And you say you can't see these windows from the street, right?
Well, it's set back. I'm not saying you can't see it, but it's on the back of the house.
I mean, you might flip through the photos real quick, just like. But that's the 4 windows we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And this is the side view of the,
That's the back of the house, yes.
So they're kind of hidden back behind main
Yes,
part of the house,
yes.
coming out.
Yes, they are.
The back of the house already has some.
Yeah, I mean, there's already been windows replaced in the back of the house. Yes, sir.
No simulated divided lights, so.
Okay, is that a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve the 4 windows as submitted with caveat that they are simulated divided lights, with grids to match the existing grids that are there now.
a second.
Good.
Okay. Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Yep.
Rachel,
Yes.
Imsy,
Yes.
and I also.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thanks for your
And-
patience.
Excuse me? Oh, thanks. Oh, no.
Thanks for
It
your
was
patience.
To sit through all of this. I'm also obviously right behind the church, and I'm glad you all kept the integrity of the metal roof.
Good.
Being right there, yeah, because that is a beautiful property.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, have a good evening. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We got one more.
The final item on the agenda is regarding proposed UDO amendments. Excuse me. Planning staff was asked to assess some of our processes in hopes to speed up review times, reduce expenditure, and so on. So I have 6 proposed amendments here from planning that would directly affect the BAR. Bringing them before you tonight just to get your feedback and see if you have any concerns about any of these. I'll get through them pretty quick. I know it's getting late. The first 2 just have to do with public notice requirements. So the first amendment would make it so that a newspaper advertisement is no longer required for BAR meetings. Based on our experience, it seems the newspaper ad is not an effective way of notifying people anymore. And it is surprisingly expensive for what it is. So that would be the first amendment. The second regarding public notice would be that we would no longer send letters to adjacent property owners except in the case of demolition. This is another one where most of the public inquiry about meetings has to do with signs posted in the yard or online web postings. So this is just another attempt to save money and reduce the amount of time that staff is sending, hand mailing all these letters. I think I sent 130 for tonight's meeting. So those are the first 2. So if you have any feedback as far as the public notice requirements, let me know now and I can go ahead and jot those down.
I think the emailing or to the neighboring properties is something that needs to continue.
Okay.
Are you talking about emailing or physical mailing?
Physically mailing letters to neighboring properties. So right now we do a newspaper ad, physically mail letters. We post a sign in the yard. We do online postings in a few different locations.
I definitely don't think the newspaper ad is
Yeah.
necessary.
Mhm.
The mailing, I could kind of go either way. I could see that if the sign's in the yard, you would see it, you know.
If you
They're
live
awful.
next door,
Yeah.
even on the street, you're gonna see the sign.
I mean, I saw
Yeah,
most of the
often
ones that are here.
you can't tell the signs when you're driving by and there's no place to park and read them and. you know,
And really
you
see what they're
remember to
gonna
call
do.
the Town office at 5:30 at night after you've driven past it to
Yeah,
find out what's going on.
That's true. Right?
Does the letter that gets mailed out, does that have all the details?
It has the agenda details, so it'll say the address, the applicant, the owner, and the proposed work loosely, the same way it does on the agenda.
If you wanted to find that out from seeing the sign, how would you do that?
The sign, we just got new signs printed actually that have the link to the town's agenda center, which is just a digital version of the same
But you
documents.
know what? I find going on the site, like trying to read the things that you send me,
Hmm.
I have a big computer screen and I struggle. to read what you send me when it's the big list. So if you are trying to be a neighbor and you go on and you're wanting to like the 9th item on the agenda and you're trying to scroll down, so you have to zoom in to figure it out, and then, oh, no, you zoom out. I could see that being a very difficult way to get the information.
Sure, yeah.
And the timing, you see it and you're out, like I pass by the Marion House all the time and I see the sign, I think, oh, okay, they're doing something, but I'm not gonna remember it later on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
Hey, Rachel, it will help if you download the file and then open it in your PDF viewer. It solves your problem.
It's all adjacent
Okay.
properties, any
Yeah.
property that is adjacent
Open
to
it
the
by
property
moving
on the
PDF.
Yeah.
agenda.
All that funkiness that you talking
Used
Is
about.
the
to
letter
be-
mailings?
Okay, thank you.
No,
That's
no,
what
it's
it
not.
used to be.
I understand, but if you do, it will solve. the problem.
Okay, it may have been a
Yeah.
mistake, mailed by
Manipulate it,
mistake,
zoom in,
but the
Scroll. much
rule is
easier,
every
way-
property that's touching a property on the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It
completely.
drives me crazy. Drives me
Across the
crazy.
street, cat a corner,
I'll then see
in
if you
any
can
way,
look at-
abutting or adjacent.
Yeah, I just downloaded.
Yeah, approximately like 10 houses per. Right, yeah. I'm just saying what the reason
I
for the,
know,
He's an architect, he deals with that all the time.
but I rarely have files like that where I'm,
You have email addresses
trying to
for
manage.
most of the
so many-
people in town or not?
only people that have submitted
know
applications
by
of some
change
kind
now, you
or
gotta-
have voluntarily provided that information, but
Well, I think,
The email.
I think what the board says is we think some kind of additional notification
That's right.
is appropriate, and y'all need to figure out what that is.
right. Email notifications are a little tricky because some people might view that as intrusive, if we're blowing up their inbox with that sort of thing. But I can certainly put that the board would prefer to keep the mailings as part of the public notice requirement.
Okay, what's next?
All right, so the next amendment would be that new accessory structures not visible from the right of way may be subject to staff review, assuming they meet other historic guidelines, like matching materials to the primary structure, meet all zoning requirements, and assuming the primary structure is non-contributory or supportive, based on the SHPA rating.
You said new, what,
New accessory structures not visible from the right of way may be reviewed at a staff level.
So that is garages, sheds.
Yeah, garages, sheds,
Not having-
accessory structure casts a pretty wide net,
Not visible from the street
not visible from the street.
and not contributory to the.
Yeah, a cottage would be an accessory structure, yes.
ADUs?
Yep, anything that is not the main house that is a vertical structure.
I don't have a problem with temporary storage buildings, but I think we need to look at,
Not visible from the main
think that
road,
would be
but
a
still
square footage.
visible.
Not visible
Gotta
from
be a
any
square
right of
footage
way.
Minimum. But if it's over, certain square footage, it has to come before us. If it's a little tiny garden shed,
Hmm.
Okay, it's, 10 by 12 or something, 150 square feet or something, but to me, when they get larger than that, I think they ought to come. before
It's a
us.
good determination.
Well, because you could put in something massive and just stick it where nobody could see it. It could be anything.
All right, so it would be optimal to have some sort of square foot requirement to differentiate between a smaller, like a shed or something, and a cottage. Okay? The next would be the relocation or modification of an existing non-contributing accessory structure may be reviewed by staff. So moving or modifying an existing non-contributing accessory structure,
Moving or demolishing.
moving or modifying.
Modifying.
on the same property.
Yeah, within the same property, yeah.
Read that one more time.
Yeah, I know, it's wordy. The relocation and or modification of existing non-contributing accessory structures may be subject to staff review.
Not
Yeah, and I think-
contributing by that
Based on the
Count survey.
State Historic Preservation Office surveys.
I would guess that again would be dependent on the, whatever square footage we talked about, wouldn't it, Tim?
I also think it would depend on whether it was visible from the road.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like if it is completely invisible, that's quite different than it's smack at the end of your drive.
And then if
Yeah.
if we approved something because it was hidden and nobody could see it, then they could essentially move it where it could be seen under that amendment.
But assuming that staff would approve it, but if you approved something with the, idea in mind that it remained not visible, I don't think that staff would circumvent that placement knowingly. My assumption would be if it were going to change the visibility of a structure, that it would automatically go to the BAR, and we could add that type of verbiage in there.
Okay.
But what about if it's non-contributing but highly visible?
Yeah.
Like, I still think we should see it.
Yeah, so we can add some verbiage about visibility and a square footage requirement for this aspect as well. Again, this is all very preliminary, so just getting the feedback is helpful. All right, any more comments on that one? We just have two more and then we'll wrap it up. All right, additions that are not visible from the right of way may be subject to staff review, subject to square footage and a SHPO rating. SHPO rating would have to be 4 or 5 or not rated for staff to review it. So anything contributory, outstanding, or the 2 rating that I can't remember right now would automatically go to the BAR still. This would only be for non-contributing structures.
But they often are in proximity to historic buildings.
Mhm.
And so I think that any addition, regardless of what house it goes on, should come before us.
Sure.
I agree.
All right. And the last one, mechanical screening and dumpster enclosures or similar structures may be subject to staff review, assuming that they're one-offs and not part of a larger project or design plan.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That was the last one. So unless there's any further comments, we're good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
That's
Yes.
the whole motion.
Motion to
All right.
adjourn.
Okay.
Adjourn.
Rachel, I was wrong after I looked at all about that thing again. Nothing.
Remy, when is
That
it gonna
shit,
be
man.
taken to the next level?
So the next one,
That is on the street. Then I would add in the after I made that. I was studying that photo, right? And then after I looked at that photo, after I made my motion, I was wrong. I was wrong. I just, I'll look back now. That's holding up. I started up. Again, I see where. Right, yeah, well, accessory shop. She lost it there. You can't change what happens to that. I should have presented that. Oh, here.